And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Mega Man, the board game. Mega Man is one of those video games that anybody from the 80s or 90s has probably played in some form or fashion. And Jasco has made a board game. Now, it sure took them a long time to get this out. This has been talked about for years. I know there was a flurry of people who were very excited about it. And finally it's out. Now, I'm always very nervous with licensed games that are based on other properties. Although in recent years I've been proved wrong time and time again. And many companies are taking these licenses and making really good games with them. I don't know a whole lot about Jasco's games though, but I will say the game looked good. And when I opened up the game and saw the really cool plastic miniatures and the nice thick well-cut tiles and the good artwork, I had a good feeling about it. Let's look. To start the game, you build the board, which is made up of different modules that are placed here on the side. Where the modules are placed doesn't matter. One thing that you'll keep noticing as you play this is they really kind of followed the formula for the Mega Man video game. In Mega Man video game, you can go to any of these guys' worlds and go fight them in any order you want. There's probably a certain order you want to go. You might need this guy's power to beat this guy. And they kind of followed that through a little bit in this game too, but you can go anywhere. So each person's going to be playing Mega Man. You put a dot on it to show which one you are. You have a dial here which keeps track of your life and your opponent's life, maybe? I'm not really sure why there was 2 tracks on this. You also get 3 lives, which if you do die in this game, if you lose all your lives, you basically go back to the beginning of a level and you can start over again. So each of these levels is one of the Mega Man bad guys. This is Cut Man, and this guy here is Fireman. These guys always have really original names. Here we have Bomb Man, and yay for Iceman. It looks like a friendly Eskimo. Over here, this gentleman here is Guts Man. I guess he gets your guts, I don't know. And this guy here is Elec Man. Okay, each of them comes with a miniature, and the miniature is really there just to show you the bad guy that you're fighting. When it's a player's turn, now each player has their own deck of cards. The decks are identical, you can build your own deck of cards. But the game comes with an identical deck for each person. It also comes with a card that shows you your special abilities and stats, which in this game are the same for everybody. Here, this is what you will do. This is when you're fighting the boss. This is your normal side that you'll be using when you're going through. This shows your health. This shows how your energy. Energy are cubes that you're going to get, and each battle, each adventure, and you'll be able to use these for re-rolling. And then threat is basically the number of dice that you have on your turn. You also have a special action. This one here, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck and rearrange them in any order. So players are going to have a handful of 4 cards. On a player's turn, they're going to be looking at their cards. Everybody else will take their hand of cards and turn them upside down. Ooh, now you have bad cards that you can play on your opponent. So let's say it's my turn, and I'm a yellow Mega Man, and so I'm going to go up here against Cut Man. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn over a challenge card. Now let's take a look at the information on this incredibly weenie card. Now on this challenge card, first you'll notice a number here on the top. That is the value of cards that can be played. So if I'm playing a good card of myself, I can play a maximum worth of 2 points of good cards. My opponents can play a maximum of 2 points worth of bad cards. So if one of them plays this card here, which is a value of 1, then another one can only play a value of 1, and none of them can play ones that are a value of 3. This shows the enemy that is in that area, if there is any enemy. This shows who you are, so this is Cut Man's symbol. This shows any special abilities, and this shows what you need to roll to beat this challenge. Sometimes these different challenges will have enemies show up. This one here, for example, this one has a +1, so one of those enemies immediately shows up. This one is a +2 enemies. This one says no enemies can be played on this one, because sometimes you can play bad cards that bring more enemies out against your opponent. So the first thing happens is players play cards. So maybe I play this one. I can change one of my hits into that symbol, or each of my hits counts as 2 hits, or I can spend a threat, that's a die, and discard my hand and draw 4 new cards, or I can spend a weapon energy. If you pass this challenge, move an extra space forward. If I beat the challenge, I'm going to be able to go to the next space, and I can do another challenge and keep going. However, I only have so much threat. Now players are going to have 10 threat, which is 10 dice. So after everyone has played cards and enemies show up, and the enemies are different tiles that look like this, and they'll come out and you'll have them to face, you're going to decide how much threat am I going to use in this battle. Well, I'll use 4 threat. And so I look at this card here, and I need to roll a hit, and I need to roll a +2 health symbol with this 4 threat. So I roll them, and I got the +2 health, but I didn't get the attack. So I spend one of my energy cubes to re-roll the 3 dice. I re-roll, still didn't get what I want. I spend another energy cube, still didn't get what I want, so I fail. And when I fail, my turn is over. Now, if I had gotten what I needed to get, hooray, I'd pass that, I move this forward 1, and go to the next adventure, turning over another card. Also, you have to roll these attack symbols if there are any enemies. You need 1 attack symbol for each enemy and take it out. Otherwise, that enemy will do that damage to you. You'll notice that each enemy has a special. Minions do +2 damage. If a player plays a card that matches the symbol of who you're fighting, so let's say you're in the cut man zone and I play this card against you and it has a cut man symbol on it, then this enemy will also do their special ability to you. And if after you're completely done rolling, you've rolled any Dr. Wily symbols, here you lose 1 threat, you'll lose a die. When you're done with the challenge, you can stop or you can decide to keep going. So let's say I had passed that, 4 of my dice are gone, I have 6 dice left, so of course I'm going to keep going, and I'll go to the next one, turn another challenge card over, and the same thing happens. Whenever you play a good card on yourself, or your opponents play a bad card, those cards are immediately discarded and drawn. A new card is drawn from the pile. If I get to the last space, I'm going to be fighting the boss for that stage. Each boss has their own special card, and it will show what the different symbols. One person will roll for the bad guy, and you will have to attack them, and different things will be going on. You can play each card that players play. The good side of it has something that you played normally. When you're fighting a boss, you would use this middle section here. Once you beat the boss, you will now have extra special abilities that you will be able to use. Like here, you'll have a Thunder Beam, which causes 0 action points. If you destroy any minions on this challenge, you get +1 threat. So each of these guys will give you special abilities and things that you can do once you've beaten the main big bad boss. Once you've beaten 2 of these bosses, you can keep fighting more of them if you want, but then you can go in here and start going through Dr. Wily's challenges until you get to him, and if you beat Dr. Wily twice, you win. The problem with Dr. Wily's challenges are they're going to be much harder. They have different symbols, they'll bring out minions, and many of his challenges, some of them like this one here, it has 3 symbols on it, which are very hard to do. Many of his challenges will bring back the bosses, and you have to fight the bosses again to get to him. The first person to get to Dr. Wily and take him out completely is the winner of the game. As I said in the overview, this is very much like the video game. One person is going through and they see how far they can go, they lose all their lives, and it's the next person's turn. And you're going to get the special abilities and go. And on that aspect, the game is good. The miniatures look really good. There's a few wonky production decisions. Like I said, these dials, they have 2 things, and I think one's for your life and the enemy's life, but it's really hard to figure out what number they're supposed to be on. The numbers, they're just really not very good dials. And these dots that you put on Mega Man, they're water decals. I didn't even know these things existed anymore. So you have to put them in water and then slide them off and onto the base. Whatever. That's just an odd thing. And it is a little odd that everyone is Mega Man, and the game is like, you have different special abilities. Well, yeah, if you buy expansions, I guess. And even the rule book's like, and here's a spot where an expansion would fit in. Okay, I don't have that expansion, but whatever. The game is problematic, though. The number one problem with Mega Man, by a mile, is its length. Now, what does this say on the box for how long the game is? Because I want to see if this game even remotely tells the truth. Playtime 60 to 90 minutes. Well, dear friends at Jasco, I would be cautious at calling you guys liars, but that is not even close. Maybe they meant 60 to 90 minutes per player. Now, that may be too long, but I'm telling you, this game is long. And I have not played it with more than 4, and I cannot even imagine playing it with 5 or 6. Wow. Think of it this way. Again, like the video game, we play Mega Man. We're going to play 6-player Mega Man. I don't think you could even do that. And I'm sitting there, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and I play, that's Mario music, but whatever. So I play through the Mega Man game, and I play, and I play, and I play, and I play, and then I die. Okay, now it's your turn. And we keep doing that, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess it's fun watching you play. I get to play 1/6 of the time. And that's what happens here. People's turns are really long. The game also has another production problem, and that there's a ton of information on these weeny cards. I mean, look how little these cards are. I'm not usually one to yell about Hobbit cards, but these cards, they're just too small. And there's so much going on, and there's a lot of information that needs to be figured out, and you're rolling dice, and it's this push your luck game, which I like, but all that there's all this stuff beforehand. And then it adds the Munchkin mechanism, which means I play a good card and everyone plays bad cards. And then I'll sit there and go, I'll play a bad card on him. And there's no penalty for playing bad cards on other people because you get to draw another card right away. So why not do it? And so it's just this constant boom, 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 boom. We knock you down. And then you get to the final guy and you will probably lose. And then you're like, all right, I'll go through again. And eventually you beat a big bad guy, which gives you a huge advantage over everybody else. The first person to kill a boss has a big running start because the next time they're going through, hey, now they have an advantage. And then they kill another one. But it's hard. And it's long, and it's this constant, I'll play a card, everyone else plays a card, then you roll some dice, and sometimes you have this really long thing, and all this goes on, the person rolls dice and they fail. And it's like, all that, and it just came down to rolling a few dice anyway? So, it's beautiful. And it is kind of like the video game, except the video game was fast and moved along, and this one, it's not fast. I can see some die-hard Mega Man fans playing this, and if you play with 2 or 3, 3 is pushing it, maybe 2 or 3, the game will come down to a reasonable length, but it's just this long, overdrawn, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, roll some dice, check this, check this, check this, check this, you fail, you pass, go again. And then eventually it's your turn, and if you fail quickly on your turn, it's just like that one other guy plays and gets on his one life, gets all the way to world 3 at 0.4 in Super Mario, and then you die, and the very first mushroom guy gets you, and you're like, ah. The same thing can happen here. Hard pass for me on this one. I really went into this with a high expectation. I wanted to like this game. I like a lot of the mechanisms of this game. They're obviously... whoever designed this game has been paying attention to modern game design, and they pulled some of the ideas from that, but it just comes together in a really clunky, overdrawn fashion. Disappointing. Dice Tower Judgment, too long and too boring.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.